Hey there! I am making a video today about succulent propagation. A person I met off of Facebook who was actually selling me furniture had these succulents just hanging out of a pot in his front yard, and they were pink at the time because it was winter. And if you didn't know this, succulents like this actually change color when they're stressed. So when I let this guy dry out for a little while, he goes from green to pink. Or if he's in the sun, he goes from green to pink. I can show you some that I have out front in my house, and they're a totally different color, but they're the exact same plant. It's pretty cool. So anyway, this little piece fell off of it, and I used to get really intimidated by propagating succulents. But I learned that all you have to do is set the baby on top of some soil, or sometimes they don't even need soil, they could just use the air around them. And then after some time and some patience, and I actually have these up on a shelf so I can't see them and mess with them too soon. I'd say it's probably been a couple weeks. Look, it's got teeny tiny roots. See if I can get close enough there. Yes, you can see little roots coming out. And then from there, little succulent buds will form toward the bottom, and then this leaf will slowly turn kind of brown and it'll dry out, and then it will just be the new plant. It's pretty cool. And as you can see, these do get kind of leggy over time, meaning there's a lot of space between leaves, and this one, the lower leaves have fallen off. So if I wanted to, I could either take each leaf here off and turn it into a new plant, or I could snip this off here, stick it back in the soil, and then I wouldn't have all this stem without leaf down here, because they're not going to grow any new leaves down here again. Once they're gone, they're gone. Where do you set this guy while you're waiting for it to grow? Put it in some bright indirect light. I have this on a shelf kind of near the ceiling in a south facing window, but it's not so close to the window that it would get burned. As you can maybe tell, the soil here is wet because I just watered the succulent. It was pretty dry beforehand, so that's fine. You just want to water your succulents when they're dry. They do not like to stay wet, except in the condition when they're forming roots. So because these two plants, the baby and the mother succulent, have different watering needs, I'm going to remove them from the same pot, and I'm going to put this guy in his own little pot where I can keep it consistently watered until these roots are hardy, because we don't want them to dry out, but at the same time we don't want this guy to get too much water. So I'm going to show you how I do that. Here in my little tin bucket, I guess you would call it, I have a small amount of potting mix, just regular potting soil, and then I added to that some perlite. And what it does is it takes the potting soil that regularly holds a good bit of moisture, and it helps to move that water through. So you're going to have better drainage for plants like succulents that don't like to stay wet when you add extra perlite to them. Yes, potting mixes do already come with perlite, but you want to add extra for plants like this. Here I have a 2-inch pot with my potting mix and my perlite mixed in. And then I'm going to take this little baby, gently pull it. I'm going to gently pull it because you see that the roots were moving in a downward direction, so I didn't want to rip them off. And then I'm just going to set it on top of the soil. Unlike regular roots, I don't need to make sure they go down into the soil, because they're going to do that themselves. They know to grow down. So I'm actually going to lay the leaf horizontally and then give it a good watering. if you like fashionable gardening supplies, I got this cutie at IKEA for $9.99, although you can get a houseplant watering can at Walmart for like $1.99 during the growing season. So that's probably a splurge.
It's a little baby.
It is a little baby.
This is a little baby.
That's right. Be very gentle. Careful. No. Oh, don't pull. Don't pull. We didn't tell people about these little babies. Before you saw the green version of this same succulent, and here I have it on the north side of the house where it's getting a good amount of sun, and it's turned a purple color. I think it's pretty cool. Is that pretty cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the little babies from it that I had growing here. As you can see, the soil is pretty dry. I leave it under a covered porch so that it gets moisture from the air, where it's really humid here in the south, but it doesn't get watered all the time. Oh. You can see some tiny ones in here. These have grown from leaves that have fallen off of here. And this guy I actually found on the ground at Lowe's. It was a leaf. It's not the same plant, but it was a leaf like this, and it already was starting to grow babies. So I put it in my pocket, brought it home, and now it lives with me. I just wanted to show you what they would look like as they got bigger and how they change depending on how much light they get. They're pretty dry right now, so I'm going to go ahead and give them a watering. They're in a plant that they're in a pot that does drain, and then it just comes out down here, but I don't usually give them so much water that it's overflowing anyway. I'm really just wetting the roots, which aren't that deep anyway. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something. If you liked it, please give a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more gardening tips.